Hello everyone, welcome back. This is our final card reveal. We're going to be going through cards that have been revealed through data mining from the Hearthstone website. So our first card right now is Flame Imp. It's a 1 mana Warlock minion. It's 3/2. It has Stealth, and it has Battle Cry, deal 2 damage to your hero.
Cost-wise, that card is really efficient. It gets you a 3/2 for 2. I mean, you take 2 damage, but you're going to hit him for 3 next turn, assuming. So
yeah, has Stealth, so it's going to stay alive for 1 turn.
It's going to stay alive. I don't see anything wrong with that card.
The Stealth on it seems really out of place almost.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, the other imp has Stealth as well. I mean, imps in World of Warcraft have Stealth.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it's a lore thing. It doesn't really seem like a gameplay perspective. Yeah.
For 1 mana, though, a Stealth that's 3/2, even if it does 2 damage to your heroes, is very cost efficient.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it isn't 2 mana.
Our next card is Frost Elemental. It's a 6 mana 5/5 that has Battle Cry, freeze a character.
I don't think that card is nearly as good as the Fire Elemental, one that does 3 damage. Freezing for 6 mana when you could have done 3 damage, and I'm pretty sure the Fire Elemental is 6/5, isn't it? It wasn't 5/5.
Yeah,
so this one's the same cost, it has 1 less attack, and it only freezes. And freeze on 1 target's pretty underwhelming for the cost.
I mean, you got things like Ice Lance.
You can use
deal damage to
Blizzard,
frozen targets,
which is 5 mana. It's 2 damage to everything. It freezes everything. You get a 5/5 out, but
5/5.
It's still 6 mana. It's really expensive.
Definitely situational, but you know,
if it was 5 mana, I'd think about it.
The next card is Frostwolf Warlord. It's a 5 mana 4/4 creature that has +1/+1 for each other friendly minion on the battlefield.
That card has a lot of interesting utility. Whether you're playing a Paladin deck, which is going to always have like a bunch of minions on the field, at least if you're playing the minion style. If you're playing a Murloc deck, again, that'd be really, really good. Yeah, he has a lot of like really interesting purposes.
Imp Master.
Yeah, Imp Master's a really good one. I think that card could be really, really viable. Even as like a warrior, if you can give him charge. That'd be really good. The thing that's cool is that he gets +1/+1, so he gets the extra toughness too.
Yeah.
So he can get really, really, really tanky. And I think his cost is about right, 5 mana for something like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's...
As long as you have...
It just seems kind of standard,
like,
really.
2 minions out, he's cost efficient. A 5/6/6 is way cost efficient.
Yeah. Our next card is Gnomish Inventor. It's a 4 mana 2/4 minion that has Battle Cry, draw a card.
It's a more expensive version of, is it Noble Engineer?
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's something like that. So the Noble Engineer is a 1/2 draw a card. This one's a 2/4 draw a card. So it's twice as much, and it's twice as much mana, but it has the same effect.
Yeah, it's still that. It's just that Big Brother effect, kind of.
Yeah,
you know,
it's the same thing as
Brewmasters, Summoners, and now little gnomes that help you draw cards, I guess.
Yeah, I think the Engineer is actually a technically better card if we're going to directly compare the two, just because you're going to want the card draw a little bit earlier, as opposed to spending 4 mana now and getting a card draw. I don't know.
Its stats are kind of mediocre.
Yeah, it doesn't really hit that hard. Yeah. It's got a decent amount of health, but it doesn't have taunt, so it's okay.
Our next card is Grimoire of Sacrifice. It's a 2 mana Warlock spell. It says destroy a demon, restore 5 health to your hero.
If they ever add in sideboards, that card would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, Warlock versus Warlock.
Yeah, Warlock versus Warlock doesn't specify friendly demon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd be really always willing to put that in your deck.
It's not a particularly good heal.
Yeah.
You know, for everything that you have to do to get it out. You know, you have to destroy a demon. It only seems good, really, if you're going up against another Warlock and you can take out one of their guys. This card is Gurubashi Berserker. It's a 5 mana 2/7 card that says whenever this minion takes damage, gain +3 attack.
So that card has been seeing a ton of play on Cockatrice already, because it's extremely efficient. It's good for almost every single character. On the mage, you can do the mage ability to it, and every turn give it +3 attack with the +1 damage, because that stacks. It just specifies whenever it takes damage, period, it gains +3 attack.
Yeah.
So any kind of card that can do 1 damage to him makes him insanely overpowered.
Yeah.
And it stacks indefinitely. It isn't like it's not an enrage effect. It isn't like if he gets healed back up, it goes away. So as long as you keep him on the field for like a long period of time to attack into something, he's going to be already 5/6 if he gets 1 damage, or 5/5. Heal him back up, he's a 5/7. Keep him in play.
Yeah.
As far as normal card, I think it's like one of the best normal cards in the game. Inner Rage, you give him +6 attack, or no, +4 attack for that one turn.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you could do anything.
Yeah. He just hits so hard.
Whirlwind.
So fast.
Anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This card is Humility. It's a 1-mana paladin spell. It says change a minion's attack to 1.
So this is basically the ability version of Outdoor Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I mean, it's basically removal. If you think about it in that way, like, against like a big guy, it's a paladin's version of removal. I mean, it's 1 damage is very, very minor. What's interesting is, say you're playing a character, and you have silence. Does that mean you can silence your own minion, and then change its attack back to what it used to be since it gets rid of buffs? Is that considered a buff, or is that considered a debuff? Does silence
I'm
work
not really sure.
on a debuff? Because that'd be really interesting to see if you could take that off.
This card is Ice Barrier. This is a 3-mana mage spell. It's a secret card. It says as soon as your hero is attacked, gain 8 armor.
That card is incredibly efficient.
Yeah.
Because not only does it trick your opponent into thinking you played any one of the numerous mage secrets, whether it be Vaporize or Counterspell or Spellbender, any of those cards, 8 armor is it's like a third of your starting health bar.
Yeah. I think armor and health are really somewhat interchangeable.
Yeah, they're almost the exact same
Yeah.
thing. Armor's actually better because you can get over
Yeah, because you can get over your health. Yeah. So this is, I mean,
it's incredible.
it's just good all throughout the game.
It's just kind of a better version of Ice Block, to be
Yeah,
honest.
really.
But
I mean, unless you're taking like 10 damage, but yeah.
yeah, I still would play 2 Ice Barriers over playing an Ice Block and an Ice Barrier any day.
I would too.
And there's no way to get rid of secret cards besides Flare. Flare gets rid of secrets. Hunters would
which
actually
is
be
really
really good against mages.
Which is
Kind of-
hilariously accurate to World of Warcraft. Our next card here is Iron Bark Protector. It's an 8-mana, 8/8 druid card. That has taunt.
So it's the tankiest and hardest hitting taunt basic creature that isn't the Avatar of War, which would be 5/10 or something like that, or
Yeah,
8.
something
Is it
like
5/10 or something like that? But this is the most
Pretty sure.
well balanced taunt
Yeah.
creature.
Yeah. Seems pretty basic. So let's move on to Jadefire Satyr. It's a 5-mana, 5/5 demon that has stealth. That's just strange. It doesn't specify that it's a warlock only card, despite being a demon.
Yeah, it's a neutral card. It's also interesting they specified the faction as Alliance. I don't think Jadefire Satyrs are Alliance. Those are the things in Felwood that try to kill you.
Next card we're looking at here is Jungle Panther. Not to be confused with Panther. 3-mana, 4/2 pet minion with stealth.
Especially for hunters, that card is really, really cost efficient. Like, extremely cost efficient. It hits for 4 and it's stealth and it only costs 3. And it's a beast. So it combos with all the hunters' other beasts. This is like the early game version of Jadefire.
Yeah.
Where Jadefire is the mid-range and then Ravenhold's the late game. This is the early one. It's a beast. And beasts have way more combos than demons do right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So as a hunter, if you're playing Beast Rushdown, that card would be a stable card.
Next card we're looking at is Mark of Nature. This is a 3-mana druid spell. It says choose one. Give a minion +4 attack or +4 health and taunt.
So this is the spell version of, is it Druid of the Claw? That you choose whether or not to gain health or get 4/4 in charge? It's Druid of the Claw, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So you can either get 4/4 charge or a 4/7 with taunt. It's the exact same thing almost.
Yeah.
I would see. I really like that card because it's really cheap. You can either finish someone off with a +4 attack on any minion, or +4 in taunt. It's a lot. That's a lot of health to gain.
Yeah.
With +4 in taunt.
I mean, that
You
could
might
really
even
take
wanna
people
run
off
that.
guard.
Yeah, you might even want to run that over Druid of the Claw in some decks, just because you might not want to have to play that minion because it's more mana for Druid of the Claw.
Yeah.
Whereas that you might have something else out.
Alright, the next card we're looking at is Naturalize. This is a 2-mana druid spell. It says destroy a minion, your opponent draws 2 cards.
I don't know how much play that card would get just because it's so easy for the druid to gain mana that it would be easy for him to get Starfire or Starfall or any of those cards out in order to kill off a minion without having to play the value of that card.
Yeah. Next card here is Questing Adventure. It's a 3-mana, 2/2 minion that says whenever you play a card, gain +1/+1.
So that card is really good in certain decks. Like, right away I can think of, you know that pint-sized summoner deck?
Yeah.
Where you buff up the mana wraiths? This card is basically almost a better version of that.
Yeah.
Because it's any kind of card, and it doesn't just gain attack, it also gains health.
Next card here, we're looking at Raging Worgen, which is a 3-mana, 3/3 minion that has Enrage. It gains Wind Fury and +1 attack.
I can think of, like, right away, as a warrior, that card is incredible. Because if you pop Inner Rage on him, he is going to be hitting for 8.
Yeah.
And that's
3 mana.
on turn 4. Assuming that you played him on turn 3 and you have one in your hand. That's 8 damage right away.
And it's not for... I mean, yeah, it's just... That's
and imagine
insane.
if you give him the card that when he's injured, he gets +3/+3. You're hitting for, like, 18 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he
definitely
can get out of control.
the cheapest hard-hitting cards in the game.
I really like that card as a warrior. Just because it's so easy to do damage to yourself and buff them. Because it's kind of like the point of their class.
Alright, we're looking at Redemption, which is a 1-mana paladin spell. It's a secret. When one of your minions dies, return it to life with 1 health.
So this is kind of an interesting card, because a lot of the paladin effects are based around buffing up one of your guys, like Blessing on Kings, Blessing on Might, Blessing on Wisdom. But the strength of that card is that if you only have one guy out and you play that card, there's absolutely no way for them to get around it besides mind controlling it. It's not like whenever it takes damage, it's just whenever it dies. So they assassinate your card, you got another one.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming if it returns to life, it retains its buffs, because it's the same card. The only thing that's kind of bad is that it only comes back with 1 life. They're only getting 1 more use out of it, but at the same exact time, it only costs 1 mana.
It's kind of a ghetto version of that Shaman card. The, Ancestral... Not Ancestral, really.
It has the
Ancestral
added
Spirit.
bonus of being a secret, so they don't know whether or not you have Repentance.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the Defender card.
Yeah.
I like that card.
I like it,
personally.
too.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of mind games in that. Now we're looking at Scarlet Crusader, which is a 3-mana, 3/1 minion with Divine Shield.
That's actually a very, very cost-efficient card, because you're going to kill 2 minions for the price of 1.
Yeah.
Basically. And it's only 3 mana, so it's pretty cheap for being a 3/1. But as a paladin, that's another card to add into your Blood Knight style deck with all the Divine Shield effects. But I could imagine the forwards, that would be incredible, that card.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely incredible. I would pick that almost every single time in the forward, because if they don't have something that can knock off the Divine Shield, even if they did knock off the Divine Shield that early on, they probably killed what that minion was, and you still have a 3/1. Take out either another minion or hit them with it.
Here we're looking at Shield Block. This is a 3-mana warrior spell. It says gain 5 armor and draw a card.
So that card is extremely efficient for 3 mana.
Yeah.
If you play... See, that's one of those cards, it's really, really, really good at pretty much any point in the game. Because hopefully you have enough board control for 3 mana that you could play that card and get away with it.
I mean, 3 mana is not a lot.
The only thing that's kind of lame about that card is that you're only drawing 1 card, so you're just replacing the card that you drew. That's a good way to shuffle through your deck very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinning out your deck with a 5 armor card. That's basically what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just a deck thinner. If you want to get to the cards you want to get to, that card helps you get there. So I really like that card.
We're going to take a look at Shiv. It's a 1-mana rogue spell. Deal 1 damage and draw a card. Very similar.
So it's very, very similar to the other one. Just a way to thin out your deck and it deals 1 damage. That card's kind of strictly better than Death Coil, which does 1 damage,
Yeah,
but you have to kill the target and then draw a card.
You know, we're looking at having draw mechanisms, essentially. You know, with additional effects for all the classes. I definitely think, I mean, this is the rogue one.
It seems
It's just
like the Warlock one is the worst one.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah, like, way worse.
Yeah. Next, we're going to take a look at Silver Moon Guardian. This is a 4-mana minion. It's 3/3 with Divine Shield.
This is basically the Scarlet Crusader for 1 more mana that has 2 more health. So you're actually getting a lot for only 1 mana.
Yeah.
And it's another Divine Shield card for your Paladin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that has a lot of uses. A very well-balanced card.
Alright, here we're looking at Starfire. It's a 6-mana druid spell. It says deal 5 damage, draw a card.
So that's 1 more mana than the Paladin card that deals damage based on the mana of the card that you draw. But this one is safer for 1 more mana, deals 5 damage. I think that's a little bit better than the Paladin version. And it's a little bit different than Starfall, which does 5 damage or 2 damage to everything, but you don't get to draw a card.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd still rather play Starfall.
I would as
because Druids just have so many different ways of drawing cards. I don't really know if you need this ability. Although you have so many different ways between like Soul the Forest and Bite and all those different things that deal damage. I don't know if you need a deck thinner that does damage. You might though. I mean, in some decks that might be a really, really good card to run.
Now we're looking at Summoning Portal. This is a 3 mana, 0/4 minion for Warlocks. That says your minions cost 2 less, but not less than 1. If you drew like the perfect hand, you could like empty your hand like on turn 4.
Size summoner. It's interesting about
you
Summoning
could have
Portal
like
too.
yeah.
I just realized Summoning Portal doesn't have it's not only first turn. It's not your only first guy.
Yeah.
Actually, that makes that card a
It's
ton
all
better.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can play that card for 3 mana, then just bring out something for 2 for free. It'd be really cool with a Murloc deck too. A lot of the Murlocs are 2 mana.
Yeah.
You bring them all out.
Yeah. Murloc Warlocks.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Alright, here we're looking at the Thrallmar Farseer, which is a 3 mana, 2/3 minion with Wind Fury. I think the best case scenario with this card is that you're going to run into a situation where your opponent doesn't have a taunt creature out, and you can just nail the opponent's hero for 4 damage every single turn.
It is another one of those Wind Fury cards that you can combo off of multiple classes to buff up their attack, like giving that guy Blessing of Kings.
Yeah.
The next turn.
That's going to be brutal.
Yeah. So he's a very, very, very deep Wind Fury card. So if you're running a buffing style deck that needs a small creature, that's the card for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many Wind Fury neutrals. This is like pretty much only one of them. So, I mean, I definitely think it's going to see play, especially in Paladin decks like that. That would be ridiculous. Right here we're looking at Totemic Might, which is a 0 mana cost shaman spell that says give your totems +2 health.
Now, I know from prior talking about this that White and I are a little bit divided on this card. I think that card sucks. Like, I don't think anyone would ever put that card in their deck because totems are so expendable. Like, I don't understand why I would ever want to draw that card. Because I find most situations I only have like 1 totem ever out. And if I buff them with +2 health, all I'm doing is, like, I guess I'm giving them double amount of health, but I just can't. I would rather just bring out another totem. I would rather not have that in my deck. I would never want to see that card being drawn. I wouldn't go, man, I just drew Totemic Might. Now it's GG. My healing stream totem might last for 1 more turn. I don't know. I think that card is just like one of like the worst cards in the entire set.
I think it's hard to get into the situation where you know you have like all of your totems out. But I mean, if you were to get into a situation, it's 0 mana. It's just 1 card. Here we're looking at Unbound Elemental. This is a 3 mana, 2/4 minion for the Shaman. It says whenever you play a card with Overload, gain +1/+1.
So it's really interesting if you're running a control deck, because almost every single Shaman spell has Overload on it. And he's fairly cheap, and he has enough health on turn 3 that he can stay alive.
Yeah.
I know, I was watching a couple of games on Cockatrice, and I've seen that card pop up a lot. So that card, I think, is very, very efficient for how much it costs, and it fits the control deck very well.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just kind of strange. The options that Shamans are given, you kind of don't want to be in a position where you need to cast Overload spells all that often.
Yeah.
You want to get your big neutral minions onto the field or whatever. It just seems like, you know, you don't really want to be playing Overload every single turn. So I don't really know if I would ever use that card personally. It just seems like if you're buffing it, you're kind of setting yourself behind by playing some of the Overload cards.
That's kind of true. If you're playing an Overload card, you're probably not going to play that Overload card the next turn.
Yeah,
you're not going to have enough mana to play it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems pretty situational. And finally, we're looking at Venture Co. Mercenary. This is a 5 mana, 7/6 minion. It says your minions cost 3 mana more.
It's very efficient for its cost.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it would be really interesting though if you were running a control deck and you didn't have like any minions.
Listen to this. This is high level. You power overwhelming it.
Yeah.
Just blow it up. Who cares?
I could see in a control deck someone running that card.
Alright, thanks for watching. We're going to be doing a final video where we go over the changes that have been made to cards that are already previously imported into our Cockatrice client. And that'll be that. So thank you for watching, everyone.